Welcome back to week 2 of chasing my dream of making the US Open. This week I'll be trying to improve my swing and get rid of my slice. After countless Google searches of how to fix my swing, I decided that I'll be trying 5 different drills and then ranking them based on how effective they are. As we look at my already perfect US Open bound swing, it's pretty easy to tell that it needs a little bit of fine tuning, especially the driver. I can't be shanking, slicing, and topping the ball when I go to tee off at the US Open. I will be going through 3 different iron drills and 2 driver drills and then placing them on a tier list to see which ones I thought were the best. The first drill that I will be trying is the towel drill. You set up a towel about a club head and a half behind the golf ball and try to not hit the towel during your swing. Hopefully I will end up topping every single one of these balls and can actually start to make some decent contact. As you can probably tell, the first few shots I was definitely more worried about not hitting the towel and ended up topping a few shots. But who hasn't done that before? As I got 3 more shots, I definitely felt like I was making better contact and was putting less effort into hitting the ball. I may have hit the towel a couple times, but I can't go from chunking it to perfect in one drill. Looking back at it, I would rank this drill in the A tier. As I got past topping the ball, I was able to start making more consistent contact and will definitely keep using this drill going forward. The next drill that I'm trying is probably the most awkward drill I have done, even though I can only compare it to 4 other drills. This is another towel drill, except this time you put a towel between your arms and the goal is to make sure that it doesn't fall throughout your swing. When I started doing this drill, I for sure thought it was a lost cause. I felt awkward, I couldn't hit the ball straight, and I felt like the only thing I was seeing was shanks and tops. However, when I started shifting my weight forward and rotating a bit better, I definitely saw improvements in my shots. Instead of going left and right, they were staying pretty much centered and going far with only half a swing. Now if only I could do that without the towel. Overall, I would also put this drill in the A tier. As I got more comfortable with the awkwardness, I definitely saw an improvement in my shot. Maybe with enough practice I'll be able to have an effortless swing that gets past 100 yards. Now I don't really know what to call this next drill, but I saw a live golf player doing it and it looked like it could help me a lot, so I will be referring to it as the shift drill. All you do is simply get into your stance and extend your back leg and move your chest in front of the ball before you start your swing. Sounds like it should be a pretty simple drill. As you can already tell, I only did about half of what this drill is. I was able to keep my chest in front of the ball, but I did have a tendency to rotate through with my hips and bend my back leg. But we can always work on that. I'm sure I'll be back at the range a couple more 100 times before the US Open. Even though I was only doing half of the drill right, I did feel that I was making good contact. You can also pretend you didn't see the couple of shanks that I hit. This by far was the best drill I have done so far. I felt like I really got my contact down and I was able to see progressively better results. I think that qualifies for an S tier ranking. Now moving on to my driver, the club I hit the best. Now I wouldn't really call this one a drill, I was more trying to incorporate the different driver tips I found online into my swing. The first tip was to try keeping your shoulders angled so it is easier to hit up on the ball. I can't really say this tip helped me a lot as I was still topping the ball. If I was able to get it into the air, then I was slicing it a good 50 yards into the woods. The next tip I was trying was having a long and slow takeaway to help with having a lower backswing. I felt like this tip actually helped me as I was able to feel a difference between an iron and a driver backswing. The last tip I tried was having a more closed club face, and that led to the same result as the first time. Slice after slice after slice. Not a very ideal result. If I had to rank these tips, I would most likely put them in the C tier. Consistently hitting slices isn't going to improve my golf game, and lining up 90 degrees to the right in the tee box just so I can play the slice doesn't seem very entertaining to me. Maybe I could just join the world's longest slice championship. The last drill that I'm trying is the infamous Rory McIlroy drill that has been circulating all over TikTok and YouTube lately. The goal of the drill is to slide your bottom hand to the bottom of the grip and do a few practice swings. When I first started doing this drill, it definitely felt a little awkward and I felt that my trail arm was getting stuck behind me. Lo and behold, it seems like that may be the reason why I was slicing so bad. It led to my club face being extremely open. Who could have predicted that? I was still slicing the ball and hitting my usual shanks and tops, but as I did this drill more, I only ended up slicing it about 25 yards into the woods. So now I should be spending less time searching for my ball and more time misreading putts and 3-putting. This was another one of my favorite drills, definitely deserving to be put in the S tier. I felt like it really showed me what position I had to be at when making contacts with the ball, and I will be using it as a pre-shot routine for when I go play my first round of golf. Even though I feel that these drills really helped me improve a lot at the range, only if that means slicing the ball a little less, I would still call that improvement. Stay tuned for next week where I will go play my first 9 holes and realize that I haven't practiced putting and will attempt to not 4-putt.